Now we have another case here where again, where A is 1 and B is odd this time. Now, on these cases, completing the square is going to be a little bit trickier because there are going to be more decimals involved. Because when you take half of 3, you get 1.5, and you're already in the decimal world. Again though, I promise you it will work. You'll just have to work through some of the number crunching. First thing to take a look at though is, again, you'd always want to try and factor. But when you try and factor, I made this one pretty simple. The factors of 1 are just 1 and 1. Well, 1 plus 1 or 1 minus 1 or whatnot will not get you 3. So again, you can't factor. So if that's the case, you can always complete the square. The same steps apply. So I'm going to go x squared plus 3x. I move the 1 over. And then I like to set up my fill in the blanks. So I set up the fill in the blanks. And the same process applies. Half of b and squared. So maybe I'll write that down to help you guys out. Half of b, that's a b, squared. So half of 3 is 3 over 2. I'm going to square that. You could do 1.5 if you wanted to. I'm a fraction guy, so I'm going to keep it through with fractions, but if you wanted, you could do decimals. 3 over 2 squared, that means 3 squared is 9, 2 squared is 4. So I add 9/4 here, and I add 9/4 there. Again, to keep it equal. Now when you want to complete the square, in reality, this becomes the nice part. Half of the 3 is what you put right there. So half of positive 3 is plus 3 over 2. And if you wanted, you could expand this out again and it would land on being this exact same left side. Kind of like I showed you on the last page with the green. Now here, 1 plus 9 over 4, I'm going to set that up by adding it and I get 13 over 4. Okay? Now, I'm ready to set up and solve just like we did before. So in this, I got to get rid of the square and the plus 3/2. You can do that by, first step, square rooting. So I got x plus 3 over 2 equals plus or minus this guy. And depending on your teacher, you might want to simplify or reduce your radical. So in this case, I will just show you that square root of 13, I can't do much with it. So I'm going to leave that as square root of 13. But the square root of 4, we all know is 2. So when you do a radical, you can look at the top part and then the bottom part. Square root of 13, 13 is prime, so it's as far as you can go, so I leave it like that. But the square root of 4 is 2, so it drops down to that. I'm at my last step where I just want to get rid of the plus 3/2. So I'm going to minus the 3/2 over. And there's your two roots. So one root separately is that. That's the plus version. And the other one is that. I prefer these as my final answers because they're the most exact. Now if you had a calculator, if your teacher allows it, you could go get that. Now luckily, on the last problem, I knew what the square root of 2 was. I don't know what the square root of 13 is off the top of my head, so for me, I'm just going to leave it like that. Just remind yourself, though, that these are where the roots are. So wherever they would be, let's just say I made them up like that. Maybe one is negative and one is positive. Those are your roots that help you form your quadratic.